he can beat Justin Gaethje, which he is, I believe, currently around a 2-1 favorite to do so.
He is?
Yeah, a little surprising there.
That's fascinating. It's not like I think Paddy should be some ginormous underdog. But that number being so far the other way does surprise me. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it does. Then I look at the stuff on Justin's side. I don't know if you saw that thing about the ingrown hair, the staph infection. That's one thing. Trevor Whitman just did an interview with Brett Okamoto at ESPN, basically saying like, this is it for us. If we don't win this, we're not sticking around for money fight. I kind of worry for where Justin Gaethje's mind is at, because he was going to hold out and retire if he didn't get a fight like this either.
I just think Justin is so experienced, so violent. He brings an element that none of Paddy's past opponents has had. That being said, there are times where, I think there'd be a lot of opportunities for Paddy to get a submission. So that's what makes it a compelling fight.
Okay, so this is absolutely insane. Paddy the Body Pimblett just dropped a comment that has everyone's jaws on the floor. He straight up said that his sparring partner, the guy who lights him up in training every single day, is actually superior to Justin Gaethje. Yeah, you caught that correctly, better than Gaethje himself. That one statement alone has thrown gasoline on what was already becoming one of the most buzzed about fights we're gonna see all year.
I'll keep it on the feet with him. There's the blueprint there to beat him. Max done it. Everyone underestimates my strike and everyone thinks I'm just going to come in and I'm going to take him down, and I'm not. He had an absolute war with Chandler and I picked Chandler up. I don't wrestle like a normal person. I don't shoot double legs and single legs and wrestle like a normal person does. I do everything differently. I'm not normal. He's not going to be able to get a sparring partner in what grapples like me or strikes like me, because I'm a weirdo. I'm honest, Val, and I'm very awkward. You can't really get a sparring partner in to do me because I'm so awkward.
This Liverpool native has been oozing confidence through every moment of camp, and while that's pretty standard for Pimblett, he's really cranked it up this time around. The man is basically saying he can feel a knockout brewing when he finally locks horns with Gaethje. Rather than his usual loudmouth antics, he's talking about this quiet certainty that's just sitting there in his gut. This whole vibe isn't coming from nowhere though. It's built on all those brutal rounds he's been putting in with a teammate he thinks is an absolute striking machine, and that teammate is Luke Riley. Riley turned heads big time at the end of last year when he demolished his opponent for a gorgeous knockout in his UFC debut, wrapping things up early in round 2. Pimblett was absolutely electric after watching that performance go down. That excitement clearly hasn't died down one bit, as these two keep grinding together in the gym. In Pimblett's head, all those sessions trading heavy leather with Riley have given him this comfort level and sense of readiness for facing Gaethje that most people probably aren't expecting.
Were you a Justin Gaethje fan prior to any thought of fighting him?
I am a Justin Gaethje fan, I am.
Yeah.
And anyone who is an MMA fan and isn't a Justin Gaethje fan isn't an MMA fan. Like, I always say, he's your favourite fighter's favourite fighter. He's one of my favourite fighters, one of the best fighters that you can watch. And the fact that I'm now getting in there against him is what dreams.
Here's how that massive confidence makes sense from Pimblett's angle. He truly believes Riley shows up with way more polished, technically sound, and fundamentally solid striking than the heavy hitter he's about to battle for interim gold. All those sparring sessions have totally sold Pimblett on the idea that if he can have success against Riley in training, then he can take that same energy and results straight into fight night when everything's on the line. He looks at Riley as someone whose entire combat identity was forged almost completely in striking disciplines, and that extensive background really means something to Pimblett. Just think about this: Riley's combat journey actually kicked off way back in Thailand, where he dove into the complex world of Muay Thai when he was still a kid. So while Gaethje was mainly building his monster wrestling game during those crucial early years, Riley was already living and breathing the striking world, eventually layering in serious amateur boxing skills too. Pimblett sees that major difference in how they developed as hugely important, and it totally explains to him why Riley moves so naturally, smoothly, and precisely when he's standing up. He's convinced that bigger audiences are going to recognize that championship level striking from Riley in the coming years. The way Pimblett sees it, Riley is kind of following his own rocket trajectory, except with brutal fists and elbows instead of slick grappling sequences.
Could have been in the mix for this fight, but I just feel like there's a lot of ulterior factors that people aren't considering other than just his recent win over Dan Hooker. I know he's a top contender, but there's a whole lot that he's done wrong before, and this is the big Paramount debut.
And lad, people are saying like Justin Gaethje's older than that lad. He's 2 years older than Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker couldn't grapple a foot off his ma. I know what I mean.
Okay, strong statements about Dan Hooker there. We're in fight mode here.
Now that we're getting close to the main event, most of the chatter and professional breakdowns have focused heavily on Pimblett's monster ground game. Tons of fans and experts are pointing to his lethal submissions, explosive scrambles, and crushing top pressure as the deciding factor that could really swing this massive fight his way. Meanwhile, Justin Gaethje has this absolutely loaded resume hanging over the entire matchup. We're looking at someone who's already thrown down with legendary figures like Khabib Nurmagomedov, Dustin Poirier, and Max Holloway, carving out a rock-solid reputation as one of the grittiest, most battle-tested, and definitely most seasoned lightweights of his generation. Despite that huge experience advantage though, Pimblett is convinced his weird and often unpredictable style could create some real headaches for Gaethje during camp. Pimblett calls his own approach awkward and totally unpredictable, whether he's grappling or striking. Instead of going with standard, by-the-book takedown attempts and normal wrestling setups, he likes to attack from weird angles and strange positions that are extremely hard, maybe even impossible to really replicate with training partners. That's why he thinks it's nearly impossible for someone like Gaethje to find sparring partners who can actually mimic what he brings, which creates this almost mythical challenge that only Paddy the Baddy can deliver.
Sum all that up for us. Justin Gaethje has good wrestling. He uses it very well defensively.
I don't wrestle like a normal person. I don't shoot double legs and single legs and wrestle like a normal person does. I do everything differently. I'm not normal. He's not going to be able to get a sparring partner in what grapples like me or strikes like me because I'm a weirdo.
He did call your style awkward, actually.
I'm honest, Val, and I'm very awkward. You can't really get a sparring partner in to do me because I'm so awkward. I'm looking forward to fighting him. As I say, he's a legend. He's someone I've always loved watching. So to get the chance to actually get in the cage and fight with him is unbelievable. Like, I can't wait to have Justin Gaethje on my resume. It's going to be something that'll last forever, you know what I mean? It'll be part of my legacy. And
flipping the script a bit, it looks like Gaeta's team has been working overtime to get him comfortable with Pimblett's totally unique timing and unpredictable movement patterns. This isn't some casual adjustment, it's a really focused and intentional effort to close the gap between how they fight. By working on copying Pimblett's distinctive flow, they're trying to take away that surprise element, the exact same surprise factor that Pimblett builds his entire game around and uses to dominate people in the cage. Even the absolute best fighters in the world need that kind of detailed preparation.
When he says Scousers don't get knocked out,
I'm a Scouser. We don't get knocked out.
what do you say to that?
Yeah, we'll see. I will try to test that theory.
Have you allowed yourself to think ahead to once you win, if you get the win, Ilya?
Nope, I've said it before. I don't ever plan on being alive after the fight. So if that's how it ends, that's how it ends.
While Pimblett has been pretty chatty and even having fun talking about this epic showdown, Justin Gaethje has gone with a way darker, much more serious, and honestly pretty ominous tone when he discusses this upcoming battle. He's been clear that he absolutely will not hold a single thing back in this fight. He's even said he doesn't think he'll be standing when the final horn sounds, which tells you everything about the completely all-in, burn the ships mentality that has made his career so legendary. Make no mistake, what's at stake here is absolutely massive, with that prized interim lightweight title up for grabs at UFC 34 going down in Las Vegas. The choice to create an interim belt happened after the undisputed champ Ilia Topuria had to step back from competition because of very personal reasons. But for Gaethje, this isn't just another piece of gold. This chance has serious historical significance. A victory here would make him the first fighter in UFC history to capture an interim title twice, which is a truly incredible achievement that shows both his amazing staying power at the top level and the weirdly unpredictable and often crazy turns his legendary career has taken.
Some keys to win for Justin Gaethje. We all know Justin Gaethje. I know personally his calf kick is devastating and changes the tide of every single fight. So on a guy like Paddy Pimblett, this might even be the size difference. Paddy is going to be damn near 200 pounds the night of the fight. I don't think it's going to be this drastic. Will's probably about, what, 220? Sure. About 220. And right now I'm probably 200, so that's a 20-pound difference. But I think the keys to Justin's victory, it's one of the main keys, is being able to use this calf kick effectively. So if me and Will are lined up if me and Will are lined up here, the main thing I want Justin to be able to do is I want him to be able to jab and slap and put Paddy Pimblett, put his weight on this leg. I want him to constantly be putting his weight on this leg. So he's gonna do that by cutting off this side, jab, slap, and before Paddy could even step, bombing that leg kick there. And if you look, Paddy was doing a great job doing the calf kick against Mike Chandler. He was doing a great job kicking, so he's probably going to return it. But I think in general, if Justin is able to keep bombing this leg kick, I think it's really going to shut Paddy down and be able to nullify a lot of his attacks. You might start seeing him limp. You might start seeing him switch stances. From there, Justin can use the speed of his hands and use his boxing. I think it's much better than Paddy's. I think he's faster, and I think he's cleaner on the inside. I think this calf kick's going to be one of the main things to be able to beat Paddy in this fight.
Looking past the explosive main event itself, it's obvious that other elite contenders in the lightweight division are studying this fight extremely carefully, breaking down every detail. Arman Tsarukyan, a dangerous threat in his own right, has already stated clearly that he'd much rather see Gaethje walk away victorious. He's convinced that a Gaethje win would create a much cleaner, more obvious route for him to earn his own title opportunity. Tsarukyan has even suggested that Gaethje would be way more willing to take a fight with him, while Pimblett might be more likely to try and avoid that specific challenge, possibly hunting for different opponents instead. It's all about playing chess in this shark-infested division.
Justin Gaethje is fighting Paddy Pimblett coming up. Who do you favor?
I want Justin to beat Paddy. Yeah.
Well,
because that Justin, he's gonna fight with me, but Paddy, if Paddy wins, he's gonna try to avoid me and trying not to fight me because he's not man like.
Even Michael Chandler, who has the special experience of having fought both of these amazing athletes, has shared his expert opinion. After getting finished by Pimblett back in April 2025, Chandler admitted that the Brit is definitely more skilled than a lot of people want to acknowledge. But when it comes to actually picking a winner for this highly anticipated war, Chandler still goes with Justin Gaethje pretty heavily, pointing to his unmatched experience and his incredibly complete skill set. From Chandler's experience viewpoint, Gaethje brings a completely different type of challenge, a punishing test that Pimblett just hasn't encountered yet in his career. Chandler has even taken it one step further, saying that Gaethje might have what it takes to unify the lightweight belts eventually by also beating Ilia Topuria somewhere down the line. At the same time though, he hasn't held back from calling Topuria possibly the most talented fighter in the entire sport today, which just shows how incredibly complex and interesting the lightweight picture has become. Gaethje versus Paddy, what's your take on how this plays out?
Oh man, more skilled, more experienced, I think better fighter all around, Justin Gaethje. But I also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. You know, because of his haircut and the way he talks, and when I fought him, he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there, but Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion, and then he beats Ilia Topuria later on this year.
Bringing in another layer of professional analysis, the legendary Urijah Faber has shared very similar thoughts about this high-stakes clash. When he breaks down the technical aspects of the fight, he definitely sees Gaethje as someone who absolutely loves chaotic firefights, a relentless warrior who's totally willing to absorb huge damage to secure the victory, while he gives full credit to Pimblett's incredibly dangerous submission skills, a threat that can end fights in the blink of an eye. Faber is convinced that Gaethje's deep and elite college wrestling foundation gives him all the necessary tools to not just survive on the ground, but also to smartly guide the fight back to the feet where he's clearly most at home and can deal the most damage.
Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje, who do you favor in that fight?
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that loves to like get down and throw fist for fist, and he's also got the Division I wrestling to negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's like a very dominant grappler when it comes to submissions. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants it.
Tony Ferguson.
Another fighter, this fighter, uniquely positioned after having shared the cage with both men, has brought up a really different and interesting perspective worth thinking about. He's emphasized that motivation, that invisible drive, might end up being the deciding factor in how this fight plays out. From his thoughtful viewpoint, Gaethje's complex relationship with interim titles, having captured and then surrendered one previously, plus his unfinished championship goals might create a special kind of burden and expectation. On the flip side, Pimblett's pure pure hunger for his first ever major championship, that raw burning ambition of a rising star, could work as an incredibly motivating force driving him ahead. While this fighter sees both Pimblett and Gaethje as definitely beatable on the right night, he ultimately favors the contagious energy and unstoppable determination of a hungry contender who's desperately chasing a brand new career-changing moment.
Paddy's not bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again. Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness, in my opinion.
As January 24th.
Now that the main event is coming up fast, the story around this incredible fight keeps changing and building momentum every single day. Pimblett's incredibly gutsy statement about his training partner's striking abilities has definitely thrown another fascinating wrinkle into what was already an exceptionally deep and gripping storyline. Justin Gaethje's dark resolve and his serious, war-tested mentality create such a stark difference with Pimblett's often lighthearted but equally confident personality, setting up a captivating battle of characters that's almost as interesting as the actual fight. You can absolutely guarantee that the entire lightweight division, every single contender, is watching with intense focus, waiting to see who comes out on top from this epic showdown and who will ultimately get the chance to face Ilia Topuria when he makes his much-awaited return to the octagon. Whatever happens inside that cage, the interim lightweight title fight at UFC 34 is guaranteed to be an unforgettable clash of contrasting styles, magnetic personalities, and fierce ambitions that will definitely leave a permanent impact on the whole division for many years ahead.